Chosen one. Yes, you. God said they will cry when they see what you become. This is the call to the chosen. Yes, you. I know you didn't click on this by accident. Something has been stirring in your spirit for a while now. That pressure, that pull, that holy restlessness you can't fully explain. You've been walking through a storm. No one understands, and yet somehow you still rise. And today I'm here to tell you something that will hit your spirit like lightning. God said they will cry when they see what you become, and you are closer to that moment than you think. Let me ask you something that hits deep. Why do you think they walked away? Why did they mock you, reject you, overlook you, act like you were never enough? It wasn't because you lacked anything. It was because they couldn't see the future God was forming inside you. They couldn't recognize the calling on your life. They couldn't discern the anointing in seed form. They judged you by what you looked like in the process, not by what you were becoming in the spirit. That rejection wasn't personal. It was prophetic, and it had to happen. Because the version of you that God is revealing cannot be carried by people who only knew you in your breaking. This message is not for everybody, but if your spirit is burning while you hear these words, then you know this is for you. This is divine timing. This is the confirmation your soul has been waiting on, and it came right on schedule. You're not late. You didn't miss your chance. In fact, the pain was part of the preparation. You had to be crushed to release the oil. You had to be isolated so God could speak to you without interruption. Because when a chosen one is being formed, heaven goes silent and the world turns cold. But oh, when that transformation is complete, even your enemies will not be able to deny the glow. This is a prophetic word to every chosen one watching. You are in the season of becoming. You're not who you used to be, and you're not even fully who you're about to be. But that in-between, that spiritual cocoon is shaking right now. And soon wings will emerge, power will rise, and those who underestimated you will have no choice but to watch. That's why God said they will cry, not because you failed, but because you made it without them. You bloomed in a dry place. You rose when they buried you. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. And chosen one, your morning is breaking. If you feel this word deep in your soul, let the atmosphere know you agree with heaven. Comment 777 if you're in the becoming season. Comment 999 if you've been through a season where everyone seemed to leave. But somehow, by the grace of God, you still stood tall, because this video reached you for a reason. Don't scroll past it like it's just another motivational message. This is spiritual confirmation. God is highlighting you. He is awakening your power. This message carries a shift. Feel it. And before we go forward, I want you to do something bold. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell so you never miss another word meant for your spirit. And share this with someone you know is also chosen. Because when the chosen rise, we don't rise alone. We rise as a force. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear next is going to open your eyes and remind you why you had to go through what you did. This is for you, and it's right on time. Let's go deeper. And by the way, if what we're exploring resonates deeply with you, I've prepared something special, something designed to take you further on this journey. It's a guide called The Chosen One's Awakening Blueprint, outlining the sacred stages of spiritual awakening you may be experiencing right now. It offers clarity, reassurance, and insight that can change how you navigate this season. The link is below. Check it after the video. Now let's talk about the identity of a chosen one. Who are you, really? Chosen one, it's time you understand yourself, not through the world's labels, but through heaven's lens. You've lived most of your life feeling different, haven't you? Out of place, misunderstood, like you were watching the world through a different window while everyone else seemed perfectly fine playing roles that never fit you. That's because you were never meant to blend in. You were never created to follow the crowd. You were marked. You were set apart. And even when you tried to be normal, something deep inside kept pulling you back into solitude, into purpose, into awareness. That pull you feel is the fingerprint of God on your life. And being chosen isn't a trophy, it's a calling. And it's not easy. Most people think being chosen means being favored, celebrated, elevated. But that's only the fruit, not the root. The root of being chosen is often suffering. Rejection, hidden seasons, spiritual warfare that nobody sees. A chosen one is someone God handpicked, not because they're perfect, but because they carry something this world desperately needs. Your spirit is wired differently on purpose. There is an assignment stamped on your life. And the reason your life has felt intense is because darkness recognized your potential before you did. Let's talk about the signs. You've always been too deep for shallow spaces. You don't do surface-level conversations well. You crave truth, meaning, and what's real. You sense energy before anyone even opens their mouth. Your dreams are vivid, sometimes revealing things you couldn't have known naturally. You walk into a room and you feel everything. The heaviness, the joy, the sadness, the tension. And sometimes you ask yourself, why do I feel like I was born for something more? That isn't pride, that's purpose waking up. The Bible says deep calls to deep, Psalm 427, and that depth in you is not a problem, it's a sign. Chosen ones often face hardship early, abandonment, emotional neglect, bullying, being misunderstood even by family. You may have had a childhood where love felt like something you had to earn and it hurt. But hear this. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The fire didn't come to destroy you, it came to strengthen you. Count it all joy. When you meet trials, for you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. James 1:2-3. God was building endurance in you before you even understood what endurance was. While others were living comfortably, your soul was being forged like a blade because your assignment requires strength. And that's why relationships have often been difficult for you. You attract people who want to use your light or dim it, because your presence speaks even when you're silent. You've been the healer, the listener, the guide for people who didn't know how to return what you gave. That's the calling and the cost. You're gifted with compassion and intuition, but you've also had to learn boundaries because not everyone who approaches your glow is assigned to your destiny. And then there's the solitude. You know exactly what I mean. Those seasons where no one calls, nothing seems to work. Prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. Even God feels distant. But that's not abandonment. That's divine separation. God pulls his chosen away from noise so they can hear his voice clearly. He strips distractions, attachments, comfort, so your alignment becomes stronger than your cravings. Because he's not just calling you to be successful. He's calling you to be significant, spiritually significant, eternally significant. Many chosen ones are late bloomers. You watch others take off in careers, relationships, and life. And you wonder why not me? But what you can't see is what God is doing in the secret place. He's building something in you that cannot be rushed. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. The deeper the calling, the longer the preparation. God is not careless with purpose. When he finishes, there will be no question it was him. Every setback, every delay, every closed door will make sense. So who are you really? You are a divine warrior in disguise, a vessel of light walking through a dark world. You carry healing, wisdom, vision, and breakthrough. That's why you've been through so much. Because you're meant to carry others through once you make it. That's why attacks have been heavy. Because hell has been trying to stop your awakening, but it's too late now. You've heard the call, you've tasted your power, you're remembering who you are. You are not weak, you are not crazy, you are not lost, you are chosen. And that means heaven watches you differently. Your prayers hit the unseen realm with force. And when you move in alignment, things shift. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 831. Take a deep breath and say it out loud. Even if it's a whisper, I am chosen. I was born for this. I will not dim my light. And if that affirmation hit your spirit, let the world know. Type 333 in the comments if you're reclaiming your identity. Share what resonated. Your testimony will awaken someone else. Because now that you know who you are, you must understand why betrayal had to happen. The next chapter will open your eyes. The rejection was never personal, it was prophetic. Let's speak the truth many people avoid. You were betrayed not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. The betrayal wasn't random. The rejection wasn't meaningless. It was part of your spiritual blueprint. You've asked, why did they do me like that? Why did they lie, hurt me when I only had love? Here's what you need to understand. Your light disturbed what was unhealed in them. Your spirit confronted their darkness without you even trying. Some of your deepest wounds didn't come from strangers. They came from people you trusted, family, friends, those you would have fought for, but they smiled in your face while they cut behind your back. And yes, it broke your heart, but it opened your eyes. They saw your favor even when you didn't. They sensed the calling, the oil, the divine weight on your life. And instead of honoring it, they envied it. People don't always resent you for what you have. Sometimes they resent you for what's in you. You didn't even have to speak loudly. Your presence spoke volumes. You made them feel exposed just by being authentic. And rather than heal, they tried to harm. But hear this. The betrayal was not an accident. God allowed it to reveal hearts. He let masks fall. Why? Because some people cannot go with you into the next dimension of your calling. Their presence would block your purpose. This season feels like punishment to many chosen ones, but it's preparation. You weren't being destroyed, you were being built. Every time they rejected you, you went deeper into God. Every time you were left alone, you had no choice but to look up. And in those lonely places, heaven whispered secrets into your soul. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. He was nearer than you realized. Betrayal is a necessary fire. It burns away illusion. It removes counterfeit connections. It exposes false intentions. And yes, it hurts. It's supposed to because pain activates discernment. Once you've been betrayed at a soul level, you begin to see differently. You hear what isn't being said. You feel what's being hidden. That's not paranoia. That's upgrade. They tried to assassinate your character. They spread lies, mocked your vision, laughed behind your back. But God saw it all, and He does not forget. He will bring forth your justice like the noonday sun. Psalm 37 verse 6. No, not that verse here, so let me say it this way. God will not let what was done in darkness remain hidden forever. He is a God of truth. And when He vindicates you, and He will, it won't be private. It will be undeniable. That's why you don't have to fight dirty. Just heal, just grow, just glow, but listen closely. Chosen one, don't let bitterness stain your blessing. One of the hardest lessons for a chosen one is forgiving without receiving an apology, releasing people who aren't sorry, keeping your heart clean while your hands get stronger. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you, because you cannot carry destiny in one hand and revenge in the other. Let it go. Let God handle it. Be kind to one another, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. Your freedom is worth more than your anger. Remember this. You were never rejected. You were redirected. You weren't abandoned. You were protected. God removed certain people to make room for divine alignment. One day you will thank Him for every door that closed, every friend that disappeared, every relationship that ended because they were part of your story, not your destiny. So now that you're standing in the aftermath of betrayal, what comes next? You rise like the warrior you are. You stop questioning your worth and start walking in authority. You take the lessons, leave the pain, and move forward with power. Because God said they will cry when they see what you become. And you're not just becoming. You are already transforming. Soon the very ones who betrayed you will witness the fullness of your elevation. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them regret. Your job is to heal, grow, and walk boldly in your assignment. And now we enter a chapter that will make it all make sense. The silent preparation, chosen one. Have you ever felt like your prayers were echoing back? Like no matter how hard you try, nothing moves, no doors open, no signs, no momentum? That isn't proof you're forgotten. That's evidence you've been hidden by God. You are in the season of silent preparation, and it is far more powerful than it looks. Before God reveals His chosen, He refines them in secret. God doesn't rush what carries weight. When He's ready to elevate someone, He takes them into hiding, not to punish them, but to prepare them. You've been pulled away from crowds. Friendships fell apart. Opportunities dried up. It feels like your life hit pause while the world kept spinning, but the truth is this: the silence is holy. It's not abandonment, it's alignment. It's not rejection, it's protection. You carry a mantle, a mission, a responsibility that cannot be built under constant noise. So God breaks routines, removes distractions, and isolates you, not to harm you, but to transform you. Because transformation rarely happens in comfort. It happens in the cave. It happens in the wilderness. It happens when everything that made you feel in control is stripped away, and all you have left is God, and in that place you discover He is enough. During silent preparation, God detoxes your soul. He heals your identity. He prunes relationships. He teaches you to stand without applause, to keep going when no one claps, to hear His voice without needing external validation. That is spiritual maturity. That is power. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5:10, He is establishing you. And yes, the hiding season tests faith. It stretches patience. You may feel forgotten even by people who once promised they'd never leave. But don't take it personally. Some people were only meant to witness your beginning, not your becoming. And when God hides you, He also hides you from people who would mishandle your glow. You are not meant to be exposed prematurely, not because you're weak, but because your destiny is weighty. What you learn in the silence will sustain you in the spotlight. The wisdom you gain now will keep you grounded when elevation comes. So if you're in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, hear me. Everything is happening, just not where your eyes can see. Heaven is working behind the scenes. Your spirit is being fortified. Your steps are being directed. And the chosen always go through silent preparation before public promotion. Don't fight the isolation. Use it. Pray deeper. Heal fully. Study the Word. Strengthen your mind. Because when God says now, everything will shift suddenly and powerfully. This is not the end. This is incubation. And when you come out, you will not be who you were. You will walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. You will speak and chains will break. You will rise not as someone begging to be seen, but as someone sent. Stay hidden a little longer. Let God finish. The reveal will be worth it. And when you step into the fullness of who you are, those who once overlooked you will not believe what they're witnessing. God said they will cry when they see what you become. And they will, because now we enter the chapter they never saw coming. Transformation. Chosen one. This is where everything starts to shift. You've been hidden. You've been broken. You've been crushed in silence. But now the metamorphosis has begun. And when I say transformation, I don't mean a small upgrade. I'm talking about a full spiritual rebirth. The old version of you is gone. The identity they thought they knew no longer exists. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. That's not just a verse, that's your reality. Even when you thought you were falling apart, heaven was rebuilding you piece by piece, scar by scar. Nothing you endured was wasted. Pain became fuel, betrayal became clarity, rejection became direction, and now the glow is starting to show. You walk differently, you speak differently, you think differently. There is a calm in you that wasn't there before. There is wisdom in your voice no book could teach. There is authority in your presence that demands respect without you chasing it. And those who used to laugh, they're quieter now, watching, wondering, regretting, because they never thought you'd come back from that. They thought you were finished when you hit rock bottom. They thought loss would break you. They thought silence meant you had nothing left. But what they didn't understand is that God was just getting started. What they called a breakdown, God called a rebuild. What they mistook for weakness was the very place power was being formed. That's why you must walk in your newness without apology. Don't shrink to make other people comfortable. Don't dim your glow to fit into spaces you've outgrown. Let them be confused. Let them wonder how you're still standing. Let them watch from a distance as God does what only God can do. They will cry when they see what you become, not because you're trying to hurt them, but because they never believed you would rise. They assumed your suffering was the end, but your story was never in their hands. It was always in God's hands. And here's something you must understand. This transformation isn't only for you. It's for the people assigned to your voice. Your elevation will become someone else's confirmation. Your healing will become someone else's hope. That's why the process was so intense, because the purpose is so big. You are becoming a living testimony, a walking blueprint, a revelation in motion. Don't be surprised if people try to return now. When they sense your shift, when they see your favor, when your name starts being mentioned in rooms you've never entered, some will come back because they love what you've become, not because they honored you when you were becoming. Use discernment. This transformation comes with responsibility. Not everyone gets access to the new you. The higher you rise, the more your circle must be purified. Your spirit is elevating. Your vision is expanding. Your voice is sharpening, and the world is about to see it. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because it's time. Now let's talk about divine vindication, because that's the next layer God is releasing over your life. Hear this loudly and clearly. You are stepping into a season of divine vindication. Everything they said you couldn't do, everything they mocked you for, everything they tried to block, you are about to rise in front of it all. Not quietly, not privately, publicly, and it won't be by your hand. It will be by the hand of God. When the Lord restores the fortunes, we were like those who dream. Psalm 126 verse 1. That's how sudden it will feel, like a dream. You endured betrayal. You survived silence. You swallowed tears in moments that shattered you, and still you stayed true. Still you kept your heart from becoming what hurt you. They saw your struggle but never understood your spirit. They judged your pain but couldn't interpret your purpose. But now they will see the glory. God is just. He doesn't let his chosen suffer without meaning. He saw every tear. He heard every false word spoken against you. He witnessed every time you were overlooked. And now he's preparing to do something so undeniable in your life that people won't be able to pretend they don't see it. When God elevates you, he does it in a way no human can take credit for. It won't be because of who you know. It won't be because you forced it. It will be grace, clean, undeniable grace. People will ask, how did you make it through that? And you'll remember the nights you cried in private, the days you almost quit, the moments you held on by a thread, and then you'll see what God produced from your endurance. This vindication comes with responsibility. Don't use elevation to flex. Use it to lead. Don't use your platform to prove a point. Use it to fulfill purpose. You're not rising only for yourself. You're rising for the ones watching you in silence, hoping they can make it too. Your victory is tied to assignment. God is placing you in positions once denied to you. He's opening doors once slammed in your face. He's sending people who honor your calling without questioning it. And yes, he will prepare a table in the presence of those who doubted you, not to embarrass them, but to reveal who he chose. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Isaiah 61. That's not poetic, it's prophetic. Now, chosen one, after elevation, transformation, and vindication, the question becomes, what will you do with the power God has placed in your hands? Because this moment isn't only about being seen, it's about being sent. You didn't go through pain, pressure, pruning, and wilderness just to sit quietly in the background. Now is the time to walk boldly in power and purpose. Your power isn't loud, but it's unshakable. It doesn't scream, it carries authority. You survived storms that would have destroyed others. You endured betrayals that would have turned hearts bitter. Yet here you are wiser, stronger, more awake. And that power is not performance, it's presence, it's alignment. When a chosen one walks in,